Turn it over once again to Pastor Gartner.
Thank you, first of all, for the opportunity to be here with you this afternoon. It's pretty cool. I said I've now been on the campus of all of our synodical prep schools, so you guys are certainly last but not least. I know you have Project Titus, where you get opportunities to get practical experience to look at how might serving in the public ministry look. What I'm going to share with you this afternoon, and I'm not going to be the one doing most of the speaking, I'll introduce that in a second. What I'd like to share with you this afternoon is a way that a lot of your fellow Wells High School students are looking to with those with special needs. About 4 years ago, the students at Manitowoc Lutheran High School were approached with the opportunity to do what we call New Friends, and I'm going to let the video explain all of that. Since that time, we have had New Friends programs start at Kettle Moraine Lutheran High School, St. Croix Lutheran High School, and just this last summer at Winnebago Lutheran Academy. The kids over at Prep are also involved in the Jesus Cares program there. The lady that you're going to see on the video this afternoon, and if we move forward with this, I will tell you I'm going to bring her back and let her talk to you guys live because she's a lot more energetic in person than she is on the video, although she's pretty lively on the video, is Jackie Meyer. You'll hear her talk about it. She is a mom of a special needs son. Her son Dylan just turned 12. Dylan has Fragile X syndrome. And Jackie went through that usual struggle that most parents of special needs children do. Who's going to be a friend of my son? She had seen what I referenced in the devotion, the rejection, the making fun of, and everything else like that. And so she approached the students at Manitowoc Lutheran High School with this whole idea of, will you do something? And their first meeting went to, they were in a park, and I think they had one family with an individual with special needs and about 10 or 12 Manitowoc Lutheran High School students. In the last 4 years, it has gotten to the point where the kids at Manitowoc Lutheran High School, there's roughly 100 in the student body that are involved on an annual basis. It's not a every month commitment. They are there when their schedule permits it. But what New Friends is all about, whether it's at Manitowoc, whether it's at Kettle, whether it's at St. Croix or WLA, is young adults like you, usually on a Sunday afternoon, taking 2 hours and being a true and real friend to someone with special needs. I was at a couple of the events at WLA this summer, and it was really neat. We had, both times I was there was only one individual with special needs. But there were 10, 12, 15 high school students who gave that individual all the love and attention they could ever want. I watched as they sat there at a table covered with paper. This was pretty amazing. I watched this guy with special needs sketch Charlie Brown cartoon characters better than I think Charles Schultz himself could sketch them in 2 minutes. I mean, he drew the entire Charlie Brown cartoon thing in 2 minutes. And those kids sat there and tried to draw on his level. They played ping pong with him. They played basketball. I don't remember what all else they did. Okay, football players, this is where it gets personal. The football team at St. Croix regularly has a nail painting party for all the young ladies in the New Friends program at St. Croix. Wouldn't you like to see a lot of these guys with their football jerseys on, sitting there getting their nails painted? Pretty cool thing. It's really a neat thing when you see a big strapping football player recognizing, hey, I can sit there right next to a young lady with special needs and get my nails painted and be a friend to her for 2 hours on a Sunday afternoon. So the gauntlet has been laid with that one. What I'll do is I'll get out of the way. We've got about a 15-minute video. This is a follow-up presentation that Jackie Meyer gave to the student body at St. Croix a couple weeks ago. I did basically the exact same chapel devotion that I just did with you. And we went back there to explain for a lot of the St. Croix kids who had never been involved in New Friends, this is what it's all about. And you'll see in the midst of this, Jackie also tells her story. So I'll let you listen to her. Many of you saw her last year, but it's my privilege now to introduce to you Jackie Meyer. She's the National Director of the New Friends Program. Would you please welcome Jackie?
Thank you. Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here. Actually, I'm terrified again. I still have not gotten the hang of public speaking. Still terrified of it. But when Mrs. Kapanke called and asked me to come here and speak to you today about New Friends, I was so excited because I now have the opportunity to meet the teens that had the courage to step up last year and to develop a New Friends program and to thank them because they have gotten me through a very difficult year. And it's these pictures like this that have just inspired me. And not only me, but so many other people in Wisconsin. My name is Jackie, and I am a mom of three beautiful boys, Peyton, Dylan, and Colin. Peyton is a freshman at Manitowoc Lutheran, and Dylan is 13, and Colin is 10. And September 27th, 12 years ago, changed my world. It was the day that I found out that my son Dylan has Fragile X syndrome and autism. And the doctors told me that he'll make it up to about a first grade mentality or cognitive ability and then stop. I was like, oh, wow. And that he has autism too, which he's going to have difficulty socializing with his peers. The doctors told me that he'll be living at home, or you'll have to put him in a group home when he's an adult, when you're gone. And I was like, oh, wow. That changed my world. It really did. Last year I came here and I shared with you, actually I requested from you to start a place, to create a place that is 100% accepting, full of love and friendship for families like mine. You see, Dylan has had therapists since he was 1 year old, working with him, trying to bring him into our world, trying to get him how to read, to write, to look at me in the eyes, to not be terrified to run out on the grass because he feels like he's walking on needles, to be outside in the rain and it feels like needles are falling from the sky. He just screams because it hurts his skin because of his sensory disorder related to autism. Just helping him learn how to function in this world. So we've been blessed with so many therapists, so many wonderful family members, and my friends who have come into our life and helped us with Dylan. But then there's Dylan. Who is he? He's 13 years old. He loves elevators. I don't know why. I don't even think he knows why. But he loves elevators. It's amazing. He gets passionate about elevators. He can listen to the tone of the elevator. When you go in the elevator, you can press the button, and he can tell us by the tone if it's an Otis, a Schindler, or a Dover elevator. It's remarkable. It is so cool. But he loves elevators. And he loves spinning cars. He can spin about 15 cars, flips them over on the top of their heads, and just spins them, keeps them going for hours. It's amazing. He's fun. He's happy. But he has no friends. Until New Friends. You've created this place. Manitowoc Lutheran has created a place for me to bring my entire family, and Dylan can be himself. Dylan will ride an elevator with one of the teens for 2 hours at the YMCA because he loves it, and they love it too. They accept him for him, and that's awesome. We don't see that. You bring normalcy into our life at New Friends. There is a need out there, a great, great need for New Friends all over the world. a need to be accepted and loved for who we are, and not just for these kids, but for you too. There's 3 things that I want to impress onto your heart today. One is the opportunity. You have an amazing opportunity by being a new friend. And what I mean by being a new friend, you can discover what it means to be a friend. That friend that you even you have in Jesus, right? I mean, he accepts you for who you are, which means you can accept yourself for who you are and love yourself. You can love me. I love you. And you can go to new friends and you can love our kids for who they are and not try to change them or fix them or force them to try to come into our world, to try to do something that they don't want to do. You have that opportunity to show up once a month and not have to worry about social classes. You have that here. I know you have that here. You can't escape it. It's part of life. You're going to have it in college. You're going to have it in the workplace. A whole bunch of different social classes. You're trying to see where you fit. At New Friends, there is only one social class. There is only one environment. And that's an environment of 100% love and acceptance. I don't even care if you come in your jammies. I would come in my jammies. He came in his jammies, which was very smart, coming in his SpongeBob pajamas. Dylan would go to him right away. That was so smart of him. Just be yourself and be that friend. So you have that opportunity to change someone's life. There was one girl who has been coming to New Friends in Manitowoc for 3 years. And all of a sudden she stopped coming. And I saw her in the community and I said, oh, I gave her a hug. Actually, she came up to me and she gave me a hug. And this was one girl who came to New Friends wearing a t-shirt with a hug circle around it and a line through it. No touchy, do not hug me. And she came up to me and she gave me a hug. She came to New Friends and she wouldn't talk for a year. 1 year. She would not talk. She would just sit there on the craft table and just stare at the table. And that's what she would do for 2 hours. 2 teens, 2 amazing senior girls, would sit alongside her and they would draw pictures right in front of her. They would just sit there and draw pictures. Meanwhile, they were talking about, guys, school, fun, just fun things. And they would just draw pictures right in front of her saying, you're beautiful. You're awesome. God loves you. Little by little, she would look up. She cut her hair. She started wearing color. She started talking. She got up from the table. Now she's socializing. She changed. But it was the love of Christ that was in those 2 teens that worked so hard with her, simply by just being there. So I saw her in the community and I said, why haven't you come to New Friends? We miss you so much. And she said, Jackie, I don't need it anymore. Like, wow. She said, I'm fine. I go to college. I have friends. I have 3 jobs. And quite frankly, Jackie, I'm too busy. I'm like, okay, great. Wow. They changed her life. They changed the course of her life just by showing her the love of Jesus. How awesome is that? So you have that opportunity. You have that opportunity to become part of a movement, an amazing movement, which I never thought would be possible. I never thought that teens would just grab onto it and run with it. New Friends is a teen-led ministry. It's going to go as far as you want it to go. Manitowoc Lutheran is a thriving New Friends program. It's been going on for, we're starting our 4th year. Some of these teens have been at every single event, and we go through the summer months for 4 years. Kettle Moraine Lutheran in Jackson, Wisconsin, started theirs 2 years ago, still going. They're having a carnival next weekend, and they're inviting all of the other New Friends groups together because they're in it together. Winnebago Lutheran Academy in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin just started their New Friends program. And they're reaching out to families in their community, and they're starting this place. How awesome is that? So you are not alone in this. You are part of a huge, huge network. And New Friends go on to the college level as well. At MLC, I just met leaders last night, and they're very excited about starting their New Friends program, or continuing it, rather. I want to talk to you about another component, is responsibility. You have an awesome, awesome responsibility of holding yourself accountable to being the friend that you want to be. Last weekend, we had a flag football event at Manitowoc Lutheran, and our senior boys were there, and those are pretty much the leaders of our New Friends program. And they were helping out with the football event, big tournament. And one of our friends, she loves the boys within our New Friends. And she saw her twin boys, and she ran up to them, and she squeezed one of them real tight from the back. And he's like, oh, what's going on? He turned around, he's like, oh, it's you. He put his arm around her, gave her a hug, and she went on to the next boy and the next boy and gave them all hugs, and she said, I missed you so much. Now, these guys were with their friends, they were with their football players, they were with their social class, I guess, and they accepted her. They made it known that she is our friend, not just at New Friends, not just for 2 hours a month, but she is our friend. That's so awesome. That is so awesome. And the final component, ministry. I really want to just impress this on your hearts today, the ministry of New Friends. This past year was very difficult for our family. My son Dylan was abused at school, and I couldn't keep him safe at school. And it was very hard. So we pulled him out, and now we homeschool him. And it was very dark, and I just felt like, does anybody out there care about our kids? Does anybody care? And I know that there are people that care, but I just couldn't see it in that moment, in that struggle that I had with my son, because of what happened to him. But then I go on Facebook, and I see pictures like this. And I saw teens launching water balloons in the air at New Friends, and that was really cool. And I saw pictures of you guys participating with New Friends and Kettle and Manitowoc, and God showed me, yeah, there are people that care. There are genuine people out there that care, and that's you. And I can't thank you enough. You have that opportunity at New Friends to minister to these kids. To say, I'm not going to be your therapist, I'm not going to be your teacher, I'm going to be your friend. But there's more. You can shine your light in their darkness. You can say that you are not alone. You have a friend, and you have that friend in Jesus. And he's with you when I'm not with you. He's with you all the time. There's a lot of families out there without a spiritual home. I don't want to generalize and say but a good majority of the families with special needs children do not have a church home. If you think about your church and your church family, do you see a lot of families, in wheelchairs or with autism or anything? Very few, I'm going to assume. But they're out there. And they're looking at their circumstance, and they're looking at their struggle in that dark moment, and let me tell you, the world is going to tell them God did this to you. And what kind of a loving God would give your son Fragile X and have him struggle? But we know differently. We know that God can work through our kids, and he loves them. And that's what you can communicate to these kids, to these families at New Friends. You might be the only Bible that these families and these kids will ever read. Your life, your works, your actions, you can bring them hope. My son Dylan loves coming to New Friends. He wears his New Friends shirt all the time. He comes to New Friends and he really doesn't socialize with any of the teens. He really doesn't. He likes to just be. And that's okay. We don't want to force him to interact with anybody. You don't want to do that. I wouldn't do that to you. But he knows that he can come to New Friends and spin his car, or he can bounce his ball. He doesn't have to talk to anybody. There's no expectations. There's no therapist that's going to work with me or try to make me do something. I can just be. I can hang out. And let me tell you what that does for me as a mom. When I go to any social event or take the boys to their sporting engagements, and I've always seen them participate with their peers. You know, their friends turn around, say, hey, come on over, let's go hang out. Let's go play basketball, let's shoot hoops, whatever. They're gone. They go with their friends. No one does that with Dylan. I've got to introduce Dylan, I've got to bring him in, and and it's hard. And for once, I would just like to see you turn around, notice my son, and say, come on, let's hang out. I want other people to see him like I see him. And I get that at New Friends. I see that at New Friends, and you've created that. That's amazing. You are my heroes. You really are.
I realize that's a little bit of an abrupt ending, but what Jackie did after that was pretty cool. There were 10, 12 of the teens at St. Croix who were involved in New Friends there, and they just, from all over the chapel, popped up and talked about the various things that they did at New Friends. So it was just a neat thing to see. What I'm hoping this afternoon to do is just sort of introduce New Friends to you. If anybody's got any questions, I'd be glad to answer them either here or talk to you privately afterwards. Anything that sort of struck you? Any questions as you saw Jackie's presentation? Yes, sir.
What is Fragile X?
Fragile X syndrome. Yeah, you're going to ask me all the technical stuff. I'm trying to remember. It's something with, I think it's an extra X chromosome or something. There's something messed up with it. And like she said there, it's part of the autism spectrum. Okay? Any other questions? Yes, Luann.
I don't have a question, but I have a comment of something else that happened last spring that you didn't mention with Manitowoc Lutheran and WLA that they did in the spring for the New Friends. You know what I'm talking about?
Why don't you share it? I don't know
How they had a prom.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, besides all the other events, what Manitowoc has done it twice. The kids from WLA went there last spring. I know you guys look forward to homecoming dance and those types of things, and if you have prom, what the kids at Manitowoc Lutheran have done, and some of the other New Friends groups are picking up on it, is they are having a special needs prom. They invite their friends from New Friends, and they give them the exact same type of an experience that you guys have at homecoming or prom or whatever type of events it is that you have here. So it's neat to see those types. Yeah, there's the special needs prom. There's the nail painting parties. The other neat thing that has happened in Manitowoc is this has now led to a Miracle League. Anybody familiar with Miracle League at all? The baseball opportunity for individuals with special needs. I'll tell you, Manitowoc has probably taken this and grabbed hold of it the most, but the other communities are going. I always put it this way, whether it's new friends on the high school level, whether it's a Jesus Cares program in a congregation, when people see that you truly care about their loved one with special needs, they are going to give you a level of trust that is unlike any other. And that's sort of what Jackie alluded to, the responsibility. When that trust is there, people will look up to you. I look back on it. I served for 5 years doing Jesus Cares in the congregation when I was before I came to actually serving Jesus Cares full time. And we would be out in the community, and from across Walmart or from the float on the Memorial Day parade, I would hear my name shouted, and I would see some of my friends from our Jesus Cares program. That's the type of relationship that develops when you do these types of things. So, would like you guys to think about it. I think, Professor Cuck, why don't you, I think this is the perfect place for your announcement, because Professor Cuck has got an opportunity that I think will lead into us maybe talking about this more down the line.
All right, I'll make my announcement, and then if there's still any questions, you may ask them. And after that, we'll thank our presenter and dismiss you for the day. You've heard me mention more than once now this thing called Project Titus Saginaw. It's a year-long program that it's kind of the umbrella under which a number of different activities will occur. Some have already begun. We have some girls that have already signed up to help at the local pregnancy counseling center, and they will be going down there weekly to help them with their work. And that's awesome that they're willing to do that, and the ladies there greatly appreciate it. Some have signed up to go over to St. Paul's and be part of their after-school tutoring program for some of their students. I'm waiting to hear from Mr. Needham, the principal, about when we can begin that. So this is all kind of coming about slowly, but we're getting there. Some have signed up to go visit assisted living centers in town and hang out with the residents there. In other words, the elderly, those who are shut-ins. And speaking of areas of ministry, that's going to be one, already is, but one in the future that's going to be greatly needed, because more and more people are living longer and longer lives. And so this will give our students an opportunity to go be friends with them, and then as opportunities arise, to also witness to their faith. Now, another activity under the umbrella of Project Titus Saginaw that we'd like to begin is the very kind of thing that you just saw we're introduced to today. We're not exactly sure where this could lead, but we do have a contact already that I will be pursuing in town. There is a daycare center that has been established. It's the only one in the area. A mom with a special needs child started this last spring. And the whole idea is to have a daycare center for kids with special needs. And I've asked them, because one of our MLS moms has worked there already and made me aware of it. So I asked them, would you be interested in having some of our high school students come there and assist you with this work? And she didn't hesitate at all and said, yeah. So in the very near future, I will find out more about how we can help with that. And that would be one step, perhaps of more to come, where we could provide that kind of assistance. And so stay tuned for that. And I personally think it would be a wonderful opportunity. And no matter where that goes, you now have heard about this opportunity in general, and we will definitely look for more opportunities where we can get involved in this kind of work. So stay tuned, keep that in mind. Okay, any last questions for Pastor Gertner about the Jesus Cares program? If not, let's thank him and his wife for coming today and giving us this very wonderful presentation. Blessings to you as you continue with your work. We look forward to seeing you again sometime. Those of you who have meetings, probably about 10 to 15 minutes, you can report to that. Have a good game tonight, fellas, and the cross-country team, have a good run tomorrow. Have a good weekend, a good long weekend. See you Tuesday.